semesters now. Let's go through some of the basic elements of what compose good storytelling. Somebody start now. One quality of a good story.
Characters?
Characters? Okay. Now, expand on that. What makes them valuable? Or memorable?
Like depth.
Depth? Okay. What else? Yeah.
Maybe for characters, like if they're relatable to you.
Ooh, I like that. Relate, well, I'm going to go without the E because I don't know the difference. Yeah.
As in terms of another quality of good story, like an overarching theme or message that can be applied to many different situations.
Let's go with theme. I think we were talking about this in the last class. And it's a matter of personal taste. I think you're probably right. Personally, I'd rather not wrap it up. I'd rather leave the question. If I can leave a question with you, I think that serves a better purpose. If I wrap it up, then you could go with him. What's wrong about that? Here, I can look at it and prove it. I'm not doing a report. A report needs to be factual. Okay, I made up the thing about the anomalous. There's no name on that goat. I just looked it up and thought about it and came up with it and it worked. I don't do reports, I'm doing a story. So I like to leave it open, but yeah, you're right about that. What else? Yeah?
This is kind of just about like the telling part, so just like sounds and emotions.
Oh, good. Yeah, we got two different things going here. This tends to be about the story. This is about the messenger, right? So talk to me about what you were just saying.
Sounds and emotions, so bring it, I guess, to life.
Oh, bring it to life. Bring sounds, emotions, bring it to life. That's everything in one overarching thing. Let's break this down to small things. Yes, sir?
Kind of like that, like the tone of voice.
Yes, yeah, now we're getting into it. Good. Tone. Talk to me about tone. What does tone convey?
Urgency of the situation.
Urgency? Yeah, that's a good one. It can carry sympathy, empathy, anger, fear, whatever angle we want to put. When I'm talking about the bear, that's both empathy and fear, kind of going in to bring that to life. Okay, now we're talking about the message. We want something else.
The little imperfections.
Ooh, I love that. No one's mentioned that one either, you guys. That is huge. As an actor, I learned over the years, if you want to play a coward, you need to be a little bit strong. If you want to play a strong man, you need to be a little bit weak. Those imperfections. A friend of mine did a film years and years and years ago at graduate school. And basically it was just a short scene from a Western where the marshal and the bad guy step out in the street and they're having the showdown, the Western showdown. They slap leather and they shoot it out. The marshal shoots the bad guy, he falls down. All the townspeople run to the bad guy. Marshal puts his gun back in his holster, and the shot is right from behind him, down low. And he just shot the bad guy, and he puts the gun here, and his hand goes. Just that much. And it adds so much character to it. It's an imperfection. In order, yeah, he stood face to face with the bad guy. That's brave. But you can see that. Years and years and years ago, I almost got killed on a scooter. I've almost been killed on those things a couple of times. But the person missed me at the last second. And I turned the corner or whatever, and I just like fell over. I mean, the bike just stopped and I fell over. And I couldn't even walk for a couple of minutes because it just comes on and gets you. Imperfections make things real. They make them very real. Going on, what else? Elements of the messenger itself, elements of the storyteller. Yeah.
Possibly like the setting you're telling the story in, or like how you
Setting, depth.
like how you turned off the lights and had the candles at one time.
Environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well that goes back to the fire. We're talking about the fire around, and if it's dark, we all gather around. Yeah. So environment. started telling stories, a friend of mine who does this professionally gave me a little advice, and she said, don't ever start telling a story with a door behind you. That's an environment you can control. Because as sure as I'm getting you into something, that door's going to go, did you guys order the cheese pizza? You know, it kills the moment. So yeah, environment's very good. Let's talk about the elements of the actual process itself. What draws you into the story? What makes you listen? Tone, we've got, let me give you the big one. I'll give you the biggie. Tempo. Ask me the question, what is the most important thing about comedy?
What is the
Timing. Timing is everything. That joke is so old. That joke was old when Shakespeare was around. I'll still read it as a question though. That's an old joke. But timing is everything. So you can string a bunch of words together like that and make your point, or you can nail one. That's all just tempo. Tempo and tone and like an angle of attack. You can be, attack means which way you're coming at it. Which way are you coming at a word? I can come like that, or I can go real. Each of us can. It's the angle of attack. How are we going to, we put that together with tempo. The angle of attack to work big in a spectrum, to work small, to work huge, to work very intimately. Tempo and tone are very, very important. What else?
Like the emotional attachment of the story. For its
Yeah,
size.
yeah, that's part of this. Give me an example.
If the person telling the story starts crying.
Oh, that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example. She doesn't, I don't know that she is proud of it or ashamed of it, but it's obvious when we have faculty meetings at the beginning of the school year. Ms. Reed, the head of the school, is very close to her emotions. And she'll be talking about something that one of you guys have done. And just, I mean, the tears just, she can't stop them. She's just, oh my God, these kids are so amazing. And just, you know, I'm starting to do it too. It just tears up and goes, and it makes it so real because it is real. It is real. What else? Give me something.
Of a speaker.
Of a speaker, yeah, the actual communication. We're talking about the communication.
Maybe just appearance.
Appearance, okay. Yeah, because I always try and go in black because we shoot these, and blue jeans and black shirt, so that when Mr. Repcott cuts it together, there doesn't have to be any progression. You know, I guess with a beard, without a beard, probably that. But it doesn't really matter which one you plug in because the clothes are all the same. So appearance is good. Here's your line. Your line is, he went to the park. That's your line. I'm a policeman, I'm Officer Allard, there's my ID. Where's your father?
He went to the park.
Okay, now, same situation, I want you to invent the word the park. I want you to discover the word the park, okay? So you don't know what I'm gonna ask, you don't know what you're gonna say. You're gonna wind up at, he went to the park, but when you start, you don't know that, okay? I'm Officer Allard, where's your father?
He went out to the park.
That was perfect. Okay, that involved a little staggered time, a little tempo, angle of attack. I'm not real sure. I tell young actors, when Shakespeare or whoever writes a repetition of a line, the first time the actor says that is for the audience, is for the plot, is to propel the idea. Second time is to riff. What do you think about this? So now we're going to repeat this, okay? You're going to repeat your answer, but two different angles of attack. And there's no wrong way to do this, by the way. Follow what I'm saying? You say the same words, two different times, with different angles of attack. I'm Officer Allard. Where's your father? You went to the park. You're doing it twice in different ways. Okay. I'm Officer Allard. Where's your father?
He went to the park. He went to the park.
I'm Officer Allard. Where's your father?
He went to the park. He went to the park.
You expect me to believe that he went to the park?
He went to the park.
Okay, now find the word the park. Well, I'm Officer Allard. Where's your father?
He went to the park. Went to the park.
Yeah, guys, that's really good. That's really good. You fool with angle of approach. You fool with tempo, timing, pause. Young actors, when you start working on a script, you want to pause on every word. It isn't true. Bite, go, 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 go. Because when you go like crazy, then you can stop, and the audience will stay with you. They'll stay with what you're doing. Oh, also, one of the things I've learned in this process is what I call a cutaway. Cutaway is where you go away from the main story. The Bear is a good example. It's away from the main story, but it has a reflection on the main story. And if you come back, what I found doing this is if I do it twice, at the end of the second time, you can feel the room go, ah, because you know I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to come back and take you on the way. You're not going to be left on your own. One last little actor trick for you. Two tricks for you. This is a game that you can't play here. You have to play in a large anonymous place like a bus station, train station, airport, a lot of people, museum, Grand Central Station. Find somebody a distance away from you, mimic their facial expression, and you will feel what they're feeling. You won't feel why, but you'll feel what they're feeling. Because the reason her face looks the way her face looks is because she's feeling something. So if you make the face, you'll feel what she's feeling. It's really cool and it really works. The only warning is don't get caught because there is no way to explain it. Just, I'm out of here. I'm not even talking to you. I'm out of here.
Have you had to do that before?
Yes, I have. Most of the things I've learned is there's scar tissue all over my body. One of my goals in life is to learn something not the hard way.
So you do that when they don't see you.
That's what I'm saying, large crowd, because if they see you, they change. First of all, it's like, oh, there's a creek at 3 o'clock. Or at least that's what they always tell me. There's a variation. There's a person in town who runs an acting workshop on helping you understand how you're perceived so that you can market yourself as an actor. And what they do is they take you into public places, and then they'll go and ask total strangers. Look at that woman right there. How would you describe her? Would you describe her as a young business professional? She's a young housewife. She's a beauty queen. And people will go, oh yeah, I'd say she's a doctor. And what happens is they take a sampling of a number of people based on perception, and they go, okay, everybody we talked to in our sample group says that you look like a young civil rights attorney. That's what you look like. I had an agent once who tried to sell me as a young Southern civil rights attorney. There are exactly 0 roles for civil rights attorney. But anyway, they look at how you are perceived, and there's no way to get out of there if you're caught. One last actor trick on how to keep a story going. If you have a transition, and every time you hit that transition, you get bucked off. You just can't remember that transition. Do a physical association. I do it with ripe as a melting cluster. Rub your thumb and forefinger together. Ripe as a melting cluster, ripe as a melting cluster, ripe as a melting cluster. So that when I get to that transition, and it's the way the words come together, I just can't remember. Ripe as a melting cluster. Because you made a physical association with a line. So if you do the physical part, the line will pop up in your head. And don't get into a thing about, well, this thumb is that, and that thumb is that, and I tap my toe twice for this, because you'll get all sorts of lost. Any other suggestions on stuff we might add to storytime elements? That's it? Okay, thank you very much, guys. Oh, good point. If I'm telling you a story and I'm looking down here and everything I do is up here or down here, and by the way, another little technique. If I'm down here because I feel something, nobody can see me. This is the same emotion as this, but this, people can see. It's a very simple technical thing. But eye contact is very, very important because I'm only talking to you. I'm only talking to you. And as long as you do that, people stay with you. Okay, that's cool. Did you take this? And which did you decide to do?
I slapped it. Unless I didn't. There. I took it. Oh my God, yeah, I heard about that.
I'm amazed that I still had it. I've had this for like 2 years.
Oh, it's better. Do you guys have any questions for Mr. Allen about point of view, about your own journey with your point of view stories? No? Okay.
Any roadblocks, anything that stops you?
What's the point of view that works best for like storytelling? Are you like telling a story about somebody else or like your own thing?
No, your own personal
Yeah.
life. Everybody has fascinating stories. Every human being does. Because, and I'm not a parent, but what I found is that teachers and parents share something deeply in common. We cannot keep scar tissue off the kids we love. If you're alive, the wolf is chewing on your ass. And if he's not at the moment, he's flossing somewhere and will be back. It's one of the hallmarks of being alive. So almost everything we learn from some kind of bruise. And it's in that bruising that if you learn something by a bruise, that's a human experience that maybe if I listen to you, maybe I won't hit. You know, when I was talking to you last time about alcoholism, thing in the paper yesterday, 20 million Americans are addicted to something. 20 million Americans. And it's growing. The alcohol thing is growing. So I think the personal stories, because they're so much more absurd than really what you can write. Do you know that all the stories that I've told you are true? Very, very, very small variations, more just for presentation. They're based on true stuff, and that's just a drop in the bucket. The whole thing I told you about Houston, Texas, Joy and I were both honorary Harris County, Texas sheriff's deputies. If the Tulsa police had ever found out about that, they would have fallen on the floor laughing. But it's because I went through it that it has some kind of value. Not to denigrate what has happened to other people, but if I were you, I'd speak from my heart. Because also it helps you in communication. You guys are going to grow up and have long-lasting relationships with husbands, wives, lovers. You're going to have deep personal relationships with people. The more free that you are to communicate who you really are and what you really feel, the better chance you have of that relationship growing and expanding and blossoming and becoming durable. If you push it away and only deal with things third person, intimacy is a really hard thing to come by. Make sense?